Okay, so hear me out. This idea came to me. It like knocked on the door in my head, blasted through the door. Look at these pesky people. We have MOO Deng here and her mother, and we have these mannequins who have come to look at the MOO Deng exhibit. And she needs a better one, so that's what we're gonna build today. Okay, so I'll be honest, I had no idea what on earth MOO Deng was. I'd scrolled through some social media and seen that occasionally there's this random hippo on some posts. And I just was like, well, I have no idea what this is about, and kept scrolling. And then my friend sent me a meme, and I think it was like an Overwatch meme or something like that. And it just randomly had this hippo in it. And I was like, okay, well, I've clearly missed something now. Something has happened. I've missed it. I need to find out what this is about. So I went and saw these videos of this baby hippo. It's a baby pygmy hippo. And all I can assume is that a lot of people didn't know pygmy hippos existed. But I saw that she's in this enclosure it's very concrete. So I just thought, I wonder if I could build like a zoo enclosure in The Sims. So that's what I'm trying today. So I'm using these rocks because a lot of zoos, you know, have these fake rocks, these faux rocks around the edges. Of course, are just painted, you know, painted plastic or whatever. But I thought, you know, the first thing she needs to feel like she's out in the wild. She needs some rocks. So I've done the exterior of this exhibit with some rocks, and I've tiered it down too. So you have a looking area at the front, and then it tiers up, and zoos often do that as well, so that you can kind of see the animals as they go back into the exhibit because it's tiered upwards. But it's quite low at the front, so the animals don't feel like they're too close to people. So I've added this here, and I've added this platform. I did want to put more mannequins here to really emphasize, because like people are flocking to see this poor pygmy hippo that's just there all day with like people screaming over this barrier. But I was like, okay, so MOO Deng needs this exhibit where she doesn't feel like she's just in a concrete hole in the ground, being prodded and patted on the bum by this guy who takes videos of her, which is quite rude. Stop smacking her cheeks. Leave her alone. She's a baby. So I'm putting in all of this foliage and I'm floating it down with the tool mod. I do use heavy tool mod usage in this build. Lots of debug foliage. There's actually no we've already done the extent of the amount of walls that I'm going to use in this. The game does not want me to do this. I just had this idea and I was like, can I do this? I wonder if you can do this. And then I have this urge to try and do things in the game that the game did not want me to do. And I found these vines. So we're making it, you know, she needs privacy. This is going to be a bit of a sound barrier to try and assist in all of those noisy, nosy people who've come to stare all day into this exhibit. And she's going to be able to at least try and pretend that she's not being gawked at and having videos taken of her all day. I have some facts about pygmy hippos. They live apparently between 30 and 50 years. Their scientific name is, oh, here we go. Coropsis liberiensis. That wasn't too bad, I don't think. And then they originate from West Africa, in forests and swamps. She needs a pond, she needs a river, so she's getting one. And the last fact is that they are from the kingdom Animalia, which means they are not a plant. So I'm using all of these rocks and I'm floating them down to the ground, and then I found this little bridge item, it's actually a rock. It's in the rock menu, but unless she can easily get over it, maybe she doesn't want to get wet. Maybe she's wet enough and she just wants to walk over the water. Well, she can, because she has a bridge now. And then I placed these other rocks that I found. Because I'm trying to make this look natural. I'm trying to make it look less like faux rock, but still like faux rock, but not obviously faux rock. And you can see that I've got in the background I already got a palette out. I came very prepared. A palette of rocks, because there's quite a few different rocks. So I picked some that look more tropical, because she is in the tropics. Is she in Thailand? I think it's Thailand. The zoo's Thailand, I believe. And obviously in Thailand it's quite tropical. Rainforesty. A lot of plants that grow there are moisture enjoying plants, but also heat enjoying plants. So I went through the plant collection. I do know a little bit about plants, and I picked those out that look like the tropical ones. A lot of alocasias, which I have some alocasias at home, and I know that they're from sort of like the Indonesia, Thailand area. And I'm doing a lot of terrain painting too. This was another challenge. I thought, you know, can I use the terrain paint to actually make it look like this is ground that is used by an animal such as a pygmy hippo? So I'm thinking, you know, like there's probably not going to be very much grass because the number one, they're going to eat it because they're herbivores. Of course, she has some little shrines. A nod to Thailand and where she's from. I hope she's from Thailand and I'm not just spreading absolute lies. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of mud. Hippos are quite heavy. You know, I know they're only pygmy hippos, but they're still pretty heavy. They're going to be churning through any grass that's there and lifting up mud. And then I'm placing lots of vines for this sort of aquatic wetlands area. Why am I should just be playing Planet Zoo, shouldn't I? I could have done this in Planet Zoo, and it would have made sense to do this in Planet Zoo. But I think if I was doing this in Planet Zoo, that, you know, that's a game where it intends for you to build exhibits. I didn't want that. I wanted a challenge, so I'm doing it in The Sims. But yeah, I'm placing these vines that have grown into the water. And then I'm going to be placing clusters of foliage, these large-leaved sort of palms, alocasias, some climbing vine type ones. There's a monstera. If you don't know plants, you've no idea what I'm talking about. Just accept that I did think about this. I'm not just randomly placing plants everywhere. Although it does look like I'm doing that. There was a lot of thought into this, you know. Which greens go well together? Which greens don't go well together? Don't use those ones. What sort of leaf textures are going to make a nice little garden area? These are the things I think about. This was what I spent my day on. I hope my mother is proud. And these are, so I'm putting these alocasias in now. They're not called that in game, but I know that that's what they are. And I'm also building again, it still looks like I'm just plonking vegetation around everywhere, but I am thinking about it. I'm thinking about where is the sun hitting? Because obviously plants aren't going to grow in the shade of like the trees we've put in because they're not going to get as much sunlight. So I'm placing them where the sun is going past the trees, they have a bit more light. And I think things like this sort of are good tips for just doing gardens in general or any kind of vegetation in The Sims. Because sometimes you place things down and you're like, this isn't looking right, and you can't tell why. And it's because plants do grow in like patterns, but they grow in patterns for a reason. So you have to sort of think about it, you know, like, is this plant going to actually grow here, or is it just going to die? And if it's probably going to die, then don't place it there because something's going to look unnatural and you might not know what, but that's probably the reason for it. So I'm just finishing off, making some outskirts. MOO Deng needs lots of privacy. It's not nice for her to feel like she's in a horrible concrete box. We want her to feel like she's in nature. We're doing the exhibit that she deserves. And imagine if I built a whole zoo. No, I'm getting the idea out of my head. No, I'm not doing that. That's too much. But yeah, then I use this grass, which is a nice one. I've used this before in my church build to blend in. Oh, also, part 3 of my church build will be coming. I did this thing as an extra thing because my brain told me it was very important. And then I found these rocks that they're a different colour to the other rocks, but I thought they looked quite like wetland ones, as if they've fallen a bit from erosion. You know, this is all fake. Zoo exhibits are all fake, but I think the best ones build them in a way that looks natural, as if natural things have occurred in the exhibit and made it that way, and that makes the animals happier. If they're gonna have to be, you know, like in a zoo for whatever reason, then they deserve to feel like they're in the natural habitat. They're not meant to be just locked up for us. I'm just finishing off with a few flowers. Not too many, I didn't want too many flowers. And then a few lily pads. And a few hanging vines. And then I'm making the floor just a little bit more muddy. It was looking a bit too green. You know, there's going to be like pygmy hippo footprints all through this. So I'm trying to emulate that with the terrain paint, different opacities. Pretending that I'm in Photoshop doing a painting. It was, for me, this was just a challenge. Like, can I do this? Am I able to do this in The Sims? And it came out pretty good, considering like the game does not want me to be doing this. You see, adding a few more footprints, making it look like it's been walked around in. And then the last thing I'm adding is this stupid hose pipe. Because that guy insists on spraying the poor girl with a hose pipe. And there we go, that's the interior finished. So now we just need to, well, move the mannequins closer and place MOO DENG. Okay, so I've placed MOO DENG where she deserves to be. On a throne with her mum. They're both queens. They're wearing their queen thing. And now they have a view of the exhibit to see how these people like it. Let's see this view. That is a good view. People, nature is not here for your entertainment. How does it feel? There's Susan. She's hanging from the tree. Was it worth flying all the way here, Susan? She's busy. And Roger fell over.